Hi, happy Monday. It's Amy from Greater Than Rubies TV, the place for you to get tips and resources and discussions on how to live your most successful life possible for Christ. Today, in honor of the Miss America pageant last night, I have donned on my star tank top in order to say congratulations to Nina Davuluri, something like that, on her winning her crown last night. So, what do you think about beauty pageants? I want to know, are they frivolous Barbie doll things? Or are there some legit stuff behind them? You can leave those comments below. But today, for your enjoyment, I wanted to compare the Miss America pageant 2014 to the Miss Persia pageant 479 BC. Yeah, I want to look at the first beauty pageant and the only one recorded in the Bible and compare and contrast a little bit between what I saw on TV last night and what I know about Esther. So let's check that out. You can turn with me into the book of Esther, and mostly I'm looking at chapter 2 because that gives us a lot of hints and clues. So what are some of the similarities between Nina Davuluri's journey to the crown and Esther's? Well, obviously they were both born beautiful, and I know that because last night Nina said on one of her responses to the judges that she was against plastic surgery, and so I'm pretty sure people would be all over that if she had had any work done herself. And then in Esther 2:7, it mentions that Esther was very beautiful. They also have extremely wonderful character. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the Miss America pageant has very strict rules and regulations on not behaving in any way that would be considered immoral or dishonest or illegal. And so almost by law, if someone wins the crown, it's because they've led an upstanding life. And when you look at Esther 2:7 again, before it says she was beautiful, even more important than her beauty was her loveliness of character. She was lovely and beautiful, and just implies that throughout the chapter how she was humble and obedient both to God and to her relative Mordecai, that she had an excellent character. Let's see, so both Nina and Esther had tons of prep work to get to the crown. Nina had begun her career in Michigan and started competing in pageants there, and then went to New York. So she had years of prep. And you know what? Esther had years of prep too. Even though in the Bible, I think chapter 2, verse 12, it says that the virgins who were gathered to the palace underwent treatments of 6 months for purification, and then 6 months to be perfumed. This was all about the ointments, all about perfecting the skin and toning. And so for a year, Esther was being purified and gotten ready for the king. And there's some differences there because I'm not sure about the exercise and weight loss program. In fact, some historical references I've read kind of lead to the conclusion that Esther may have been putting on weight. So that's a little bit different and interesting. Also, they would have been in development their whole lives for that time, not just the time set aside, but you know, both of these women were setting a platform, even in their younger years, what kind of women they were going to turn out to be. So it was really from youth. Okay, so Miss America is judged on talent, gown, interview, and lifestyle or swimsuit section, as we call it. And I'm sure without even knowing it, Esther was being judged on these things too, because certainly, even though Ahasuerus or Xerxes in Greek, even though he was kind of a pigly sort of guy to want to be with these tons of virgins, he really is thinking who would be the next great queen. He's not going to pick an imbecile. So even without knowing it, Esther's being judged on all these things as well. And I don't want to bust anyone's bubble, because this was totally heart-wrenching when I figured this out. But for Esther, she had a really weird portion of her contest. It seems, or it's alluded to, that one of the things she's judged on is her night with the king, which I would like to think it was like playing Scrabble or Uno or something like that. But it seems that they're probably having sexual intercourse, and that Esther's being judged on that too. Before you freak out and think that Esther's totally abandoning her good girl image, I want you to realize that sleeping with the king would have been a marriage ceremony in of itself. She would have become a concubine or lesser wife, and it still would have been a marriage, because she would be in a covenant that said she couldn't get married to anyone else, she couldn't go home. Basically, it's a really uncomfortable prison-like marriage where she only sees the king if he calls for her. But nonetheless, it would have been legitimate. Not for heirs, but, you know, for consciousness sake, you would realize that you were in an actual marriage. So I don't want to go into that too much. So that's probably a little bit different. But also heritage. You know, Nina is getting all these racist tweets and stuff about her Indian descent, and had Esther let the king know of her descent as a Jewess, she would have been probably made lots of racist comments on. That's why it was such a secret. So there are a lot of similarities between the two, and I don't want to say anything super negative about the Miss America pageant, but that's kind of where the similarities stop. I do want to bring out one thing. Nina Davuluri has gone into this pageant world with her own goals and for her own purposes, and I don't know her faith, I don't know what she's all about, but you know, it's voluntary. Esther, on the other hand, seems to have been taken against her will, and certainly she could have risked death as opposed to going along with the king's decree. But when you read verse 8, this was a command sent out by the local government. This was something that she was required to comply with, and she probably thought, look, there's no chance I'm getting this. But God had a different thing in mind, and he was leading, and it was for his purpose. And when the appointed time came, she was willing to sacrifice her very life for the life of God's people, the lives of God's people. And so it's a much weightier thing. So I only say this because, girls, if you're watching and you think, I'm going to rush out and start in the pageant world, there's lots of things that you would want to consider before doing that. I actually was in one pageant once. I'll show you a picture. It's quite embarrassing. Here, I don't know if you can see that very well. Here you go. That's me, I think in 1999, with my brother AJ next to me. I got the first runner-up to the Miss Greenbrier pageant. That was probably not the best choice to do that pageant, but I did learn a lot. I wasn't keeping the Sabbath when I went there. I kind of wiggled around it and told myself it was okay because I was singing Via Dolorosa as my talent. But looking back, I would not do that again, but I don't regret it either. So it just kind of helped me solidify my personal beliefs. But anyway, I want to know about you. Have you competed in any pageants for the Lord's glory or for your own? And what did you learn? let me know in the comments below if you've got anything to say on this topic. And I do want to tell you and remind you that this story is mostly about Christ and his willingness to put himself on the line for his people. And it's a beautiful story. So if you haven't read Esther lately, I think you'll like it. Give it a shot. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.